Thank you, everybody, for joining today. My name is Alan McCoy. I'm the CEO of NeedPipe.com. We are doing today a webinar with Prolion Software. Prolion is a leader in CryptoSpike ransomware protection software. And we've asked Caesar Schmidt, along with Maddie from marketing, to come on and talk about CryptoSpike and the solution that it can do for your NetApp arrays. As you know from NeedPipe, we're always working to try to provide you with solutions to help you protect against ransomware, help you improve your information security, data privacy, data protection, as well as the just standard managed IT services and application development and consulting that we do. So if you're in need of any of those services, please look to us at needpipe.com to have a discussion with us about anything that you might need in the area of IT consulting and services. At the end of the webinar this evening, we'll send out a 8-step process on how to organize and defend yourself against ransomware. We'll also send out this presentation that we're doing today, along with the recording for those of you that missed it. So we're anxious to get started, and CryptoSpike and Prolion Software has excellent products. There'll be a couple others that you might be interested in if you're running SAP, or also if you're doing things like for data optimization and data analysis. And then we also have Maher Mistry on today from Savian Consulting that does a lot in the way of security assessments, penetration tests, data protection, compliance for data, and things of that nature. So please reach out to us. We're going to record this and send this out to you, as well as reach out to you and so that we can talk to your individual staffs about things that we can potentially do for you. So with that, I'll turn it over to Caesar Schmidt, and he can get started to talk to you about their fantastic product, CryptoSpike. Over to you, Caesar.
Thanks, Alan. Appreciate it. Thanks, everyone. Quick introduction. The goals of this meeting today is I think you would like to know a little bit more about who we are, what we do, and what the heart of this conversation is about, and what we're trying to solve for. So I'll give you guys an overview of CryptoSpike from a theory perspective, what CryptoSpike is about and what it solves. And then I'll do a live demo to walk you through how our ransomware protection tool works for your NetApp as kind of a black box. So looks like you just got to admit one person here. So Prolion was started back in 2013. Our CEO Robert Graf started out as an ex-NetApp employee covering Austria as part of his territory. And since data became the new oil, customers were really needing help as far as protecting their NetApp, making sure they have better management, how to analyze their data. And we're primarily focused on NetApp systems running on CIFS and NFS. And our solutions include a wide range of analytics, better restore capabilities, high availability and business resiliency for SAP services. And then at the heart of this conversation, we'll go into our CryptoSpike solution. But I just want to share some statistics there with you guys about ransomware. I think there's, every 11 seconds, a new organization is falling victim to ransomware. About 50% of organizations can lose up about 50% of their clients. There's year-over-year growth of 55%. It's a $20 billion market by the end of 2021. And, as of right now, 97% of targets receive the decryption keys once the payments are made, and these guys continue to on with their cycle. So, obviously, our healthcare organizations are under attack. Our financial services are under attack. All of these U.S. entities are obviously suffering from it. So our goal is to kind of put on the white hat and help protect these organizations as best as we can. This is kind of our solution portfolio that we offer with 6 different offerings. Data Analyzer allows you to have better insights as to what type of data structure you have inside your environment, what's cold data, what's hot data, what needs to be archived, when was the last time it was touched, and it's good analytics as to what's going on inside of your environment. Our Restore Manager does a centralized indexing of all of your backups and snapshots So in case you need to restore a particular file, it won't take you days or weeks, right? You're quickly able to tie into the NetApp F policy APIs for your snapshots and restore that from a central file cataloging service. ClusterLine is our solution that we have for business resiliency and always on availability of Metro Cluster, as well as ClusterLine for SAP systems, in which we're able to actually build a quorum that we have to automatically fail over anytime there's some kind of outage without you having to touch anything. It's an automatic failover. We reduce the need for a third site. Therefore, we reduce your overall total cost of ownership by 2/3 with better RTOs and RPOs. CryptoSpike is what we're going to be focused on today. It's the heart of our conversation, which is our flagship product, which helps you with ransomware and zero-day attacks in a very proactive fashion. We're even going to simulate a ransomware attack as part of this meeting today. So these are some of the clients that we're working with. We have over 600 clients globally. These are just a few that we're able to share, since we've gotten their approval. But we have everything from global 500 customers, medium-sized organizations. At the end of the day, ransomware is a huge issue for a lot of folks, and particularly around healthcare. I was just reading that a PDF of a medical record is going for $300 a pop in the black market versus a typical usual Social Security. So we're really trying to help protect these organizations. And since data became the new oil, these guys are really making your NetApp Ontap file systems their prime target to go after. So I just want to pause there and share a quick story with you, since it's top of mind for a lot of folks. Finastra is basically the 10th largest financial services firm in the world, servicing about 90% of the top 100 banks and financial institutions. And they got hit with ransomware, right? So even the big shops that have the endpoint protection, the firewalls, the network security, the IPS, all the good stuff that we know and believe in, still cause to have an incident with ransomware. It's a situation where somebody turned off their edge protection scanning. The bad guys were able to infiltrate their systems, started going after the file shares. So one of the strategies that took place is they completely shut it down, and because they couldn't figure out where it was coming from. Second thing they did is they called us. We came in, and within a few hours, we downloaded the OVA files. We stood up our environment. We were able to mitigate that risk. We identified exactly where it actually happened and who took place. We restored those files and got them up and running. So it's a huge success story for us, and I'll be happy to share a case study as a follow-up to this webinar. So what we've identified is that, endpoint protection is not enough, right? And our solution, what we're doing here is we're actually trying to protect what these guys are really going after, which is the data, right? So this is designated for ONTAP file shares that are running on CIFS or NFS, and we're trying to protect that data as close as possible by watching everything that's coming in, whether it's internal or external threats. And we're able to quickly identify whether it's good data or bad data, and whether we want to allow that type of action to go through, or we want to block it if it's a known ransomware extension, as an example. And we'll go a little bit deeper here in a few slides. But what we're starting to see more than ever is there's a huge rise in insider threats. Ever since 2016, we're seeing more and more that these users are now being persuaded by these, bad actors to get compensated to perform these type of attacks. Last fall, I don't know if you heard, but Tesla had an incident where an employee got paid $500,000 just to plug in a USB inside of the Tesla network. And the insider threats vary, right? It includes everything from disgruntled employees to third-party family members, contractors, guys that see the opportunity. Cyber criminals have obviously been evolving their skills with the pandemic. And then negligence, right? Sometimes an employee clicks on a phishing email or scam without even trying to be malicious, but ends up corrupting the entire organization. So what we're able to provide as an additional feature and benefit is a lossless recording of everything that's taking place. So you're quickly able to identify everything that's going on, whether it's internal or external users, how many opens, how many reads, how many deletes they're doing. So if you ever needed to audit or run some kind of forensics, you quickly are able to identify where to look and which users is actually touching the specific files. So unlike other providers that just simply creating an alert, our solution is very unique. And so let's jump into the heart of it, right? What is CryptoSpike? So the way I like to describe it is there's 3 core pillars. The first pillar is called a block list. What's a block list? It's an automated list that's constantly updated from our community projects around the world. So it's fully updated and managed by us. It's giving you the latest and greatest signatures out there that would cause a ransomware attack. These are things that are being used to infiltrate the file systems. And there's about 4 or 5 new extensions coming out on a daily basis. So it filters out anything that would be a bad file extension, for example, like a 777, Locky, WannaCry. Why is this important? It's like having your front door closed versus leaving it wide open. Scary thing is, a lot of times we ask our customers to write one of these extensions, and 9 out of 10 times they're able to write it, because most folks typically set it up once and forget to update it. So it's one of those scenarios where you want to enable your workforce to not have any bottlenecks, but at the same time, it's okay to have a little bit of checks and balances to ensure you're protecting and mitigating some of the risk. Second pillar we have is called a pass list. Why is that important? I know for a fact there's a lot of file types without even being malicious being saved to an environment that's not relevant to the business, right? I've seen customers with their PAX image filer with MRI records and other medical records. And along with that, you don't want someone going in and saving their MP3 files or some other random file types on the same environment. It's a great opportunity for us to actually educate our customers on their data management standpoint. And it's also a good practice to help cleaning up some of their file types and ensure that the proper things are being saved to that environment. Third pillar that I believe is the most important is called the analyzer. And what this does is our AI machine learning algorithm that we put in place, and we actually leverage this to understand what's being accessed on the file system. Once we establish that baseline, we're able to detect anytime a user typically deviates from the normal pattern of behavior. Why is that important? Not only are we able to catch a user that has been compromised, but if the user does a massive delete or some kind of weird changes, or they go to a certain volume or within a certain SVM, we're quickly able to actually restore only the files that were impacted. For example, we had a bank customer that literally noticed a user that was opening up 2 things at the same time. That's not normal, right? And what happened there is we actually quickly catch that they were switching the numbers on the bank statements as the phone logo was loading the actual statement as they were logging in. So this is something that you typically can't catch, but with our metadata, with our CryptoSpike, we're able to identify that and block that attack. Well, once we recognize that type of behavior, right? Let's say it was a 0-day attack, and we actually see that all the time, where a user's trying to go in and copy 25 files within a second, then overwrite those files, then delete those files. We actually block that user as if they're quarantined, right? It's not a false positive. That way, your IT security folks can actually go in and investigate which files did they touch, what got corrupted, and only restore the files that were actually impacted while everybody else continues to work business as usual. Because we're tying in via NetApp's F-Policy APIs, we're quickly able to identify where the snapshots are, and you can select the best candidate so you can just restore the files right from there. So let's go a little bit deeper into the architecture. So again, everything we do is we leverage via the F-Policy API, which is a free service with every NetApp filer. And we set up an on-premise 3 virtual machines, right? It's an OVA deployment that you set up 1 CryptoSpike virtual server and 2 F-Policy servers for HA redundancy. It's a simple OVA deployment, works on Hyper-V, works on VMware. And if you have those images, stage, prep, and downloaded, you can have it up and running maybe in an hour and a half, 2 hours if you need a coffee break. And it's very simple and very effective to helping you guys protect your NetApp systems. So let's go into here and show you an example, right, of a ransomware attack. Let's say you had 2,000 employees working on 10,000 files on a particular NetApp file share. Typically, what you have to do is restore the snapshot back to the previous good state, which is on a Tuesday or Monday, right? That's 3 days of production hours for everybody that didn't have anything to do with it, right? So that's a lot of production hours you'd be missing out on. What we're able to do is actually, without having to bring down the system and restore an entire snapshot, if you have one bad user or a set of bad users that start deviating from normal behavior, we're able to quickly identify which files they actually touched, only restore the files that were impacted, while everybody else continues to work business as usual. So there's no data loss, and it's very proactive to actually get this done, and we'll show you here in a few moments. These are some of the installation requirements that we require as far as the 3 virtual machines when we set up with the environment. And because you guys joined this webinar today, we're actually going to be offering a free proof of concept in which we'll go into more detail after the demonstration of our UI and the ransomware simulation. But essentially, here's a brief summary, right? It's very easy to install. These are virtual machine images that you can set up within a few hours. As long as you're running ONTAP systems, whether it's on-prem or in the cloud via CIFS or NFS, we're able to protect that as well. So if you guys were replicating the infrastructure into CVO, we're actually able to tie that in. We can export anything that you guys like to see as far as logs into your existing SIM platforms. And again, this is another security tool that you're able to add as part of your overall multi-layered defense approach to enhance your cybersecurity posture. So with that said, I'm actually going to jump in here into our presentation and show you what our UI looks like. So here's the block list, right? So here's something that we're able to automatically block, and we're actually constantly managing and updating in real time. As you see here, there's over 4,600 records of known extensions out there that would cause a ransomware. So again, there's about 4 or 5 new extensions coming out on a daily basis. Things like, as you see here, Locky, WannaCry, 777, things that you never want to save as part of your environment. If you wanted to get more granular and have better data hygiene, if you had a very particular, very sensitive directory that shouldn't have any other type of files, you can actually create this pass list to customize it, and based on your policies and what you're looking to build, we can customize this to your company needs. And here's the analyzer, which I believe is the most important module, right? As you see here, it's constantly analyzing everything that's taking place inside of our environment, right? And let's say it was a zero-day attack. We recognize that type of behavior, right? They typically go in and encrypt 25 files within a second, 50 files within 5 seconds, or 100 files within 30 seconds. That's just not normal behavior, right? So we're able to quickly just quarantine that guy and block that user versus getting a false positive to ensure there's no more damage being done to the environment. And again, everything that we do is we have a lossless recording of everything that's taking place inside of the environment. So we're quickly able to identify and drill into what users are doing, how many files they're opening, export this for compliance or auditing. You can leverage this for forensics, and it's a great solution for that. So let's actually go in here and actually simulate a ransomware attack. Let's say you have a plain original file text, right, within a NetApp directory. Nothing crazy about this file. Let's say this guy's like the Tesla employee that got paid $500,000 to change this into a ransomware attack. So I'm going to try it. 777. That's a known ransomware extension. The moment I try to save it, guess what? My block list kicks in and automatically stops me from saving that file. So it doesn't even allow me to do so. Let's try another bad one over here. Let's go for Locky. That's another ransomware extension. Again, my block list automatically stops me and says, hey, that's a malicious type of extension, right? And it doesn't allow me to save it. Let's say this guy's crafty and he's really good and he decides that he's going to corrupt that endpoint in that file. As you notice here, I've now corrupted this file and this endpoint, but I didn't change the type of extension it was, right? So the file still looks like it's a normal file. And let's say you're sitting over the weekend and decides to deploy that payload and go after that file share. As you see here, it's going to first try to copy the files, then it's going to, overwrite those files, then delete those files. Well, my analyzer recognized that's not normal behavior for someone trying to, copy that many files in a short amount of time. So I actually see here, access denied and 0 files were actually copied. So if I try to go back into that NetApp directory, I get notification, hey, your network, you got to contact your network administrator. So your IT security folks will get notified. They're probably going to get a call saying, hey, why can't I access my file share? But they can go and investigate what's going on. And so if I go back to the centralized dashboard here, you get this nice little notification that the user needs to look into. If I go into my blocked user view, right, because you have Active Directory, my name automatically shows up, the IP address, the type of Windows machine, the exact timestamp on where I need to investigate, which was a 2018-14. Our systems are hosted based out of Germany, so that's why I have a little bit of a different time frame. And the reason why was an advanced pattern hit, right? So let's go in here and find out what this guy was doing. So here's a really big spike in the number of files that this guy tried to go after. So I need to go in here and find out which files were actually corrupted. So I know that the files that I was changing, obviously it kept track of everything that I was doing. So first I tried to save it as 777, then Locky, then at 2018-04 is when the problem child happened, and then tried going after all these other files. So you can select as many files as you want. and then you say, hey, I got to restore this one. So with the click of a button, I can actually click restore. You can restore it to a different file path, change the file name without the extension. You can restore the entire folder, and you can actually select the snapshot from the previous day, the previous week. If you say, hey, Caesar, I'm not sure which snapshot still, it hasn't been impacted. So all you have to do is click this little checkbox, let the system crawl through and select the best candidate, and you click restore. That's how easy it is. Now I've restored that file. You go talk to that user, say, hey, don't click on that phishing scam again. So go back to work. So you unblock him. Now that file has been cleaned up. And if I go back into that NetApp directory, I should have access now. And that file should be back to its original state. There it is. As fast as that, you have a salesperson that just stopped a ransomware attack and restored that file. Not many solutions can show you that. So with that said, hopefully this gives you a better picture on how we're able to set up, your ransomware protection with CryptoSpike. We do offer a free POC that we're able to take advantage of. And here's the typical process for that. So it's a quick, POC test plan that we set up with some pre-requirements and requisites. You just got to let us know how many filers that you have, how many nodes. And one thing I forgot to cover is the way we license, it's based on the actual controller nodes. So we have 4 tiers, tier 0, tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. Once you license the controller head, you can have as many disk shells as you want, as many users as you want, and it's fully covered, right? So there's no additional cost and there's no, fluctuation in price each month. You can do a 1-year, 3-year, 5-year contract with your environment, and it's very cost effective. But as you see here, this is the POC test plan that we typically run through. Some additional tips for the configuration, and then some of the case studies or test case summary that you can go through as part of your success criteria. So with that, I want to pause there and turn over to you, Alan, and see if there's any questions and open up for any questions from the folks attending today.
Thanks. Thank you for that, Caesar. And thanks also to Maddie and Alex for helping pull this webinar together for us. As you can see here, CryptoSpike is a pretty straightforward piece of software that you can use on your arrays to scan and help protect against the ransomware. Also, I think that, having us come in and run it on a couple of your arrays or a couple of your file systems that are in the cloud to, see how things are going would be very beneficial to you. And we'd be willing to do that at no charge. And also, I think that, we'll also send out a copy of this presentation along with the recording of the presentation, and also a link to a couple other webinars that we've done on data and information security. And with that, do we have any questions that people would like to ask for of Caesar? Okay. If there are no questions, then thanks again for attending. We appreciate it, and we'd love to come out and do a proof of concept with you and your team. And it doesn't take much to implement this and get it scanning on your arrays and helping protect you on a daily basis against ransomware attacks. Caesar, would you like to add anything else on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks everyone for taking the time today. And if you guys are interested in seeing a budgetary quote, we'll follow up with Alan and our team, and we'll be able to quickly get that going for you. Thanks everyone for your time and you taking the time today.
Thank you very much. Thanks guys for attending. We appreciate it.